Bobcats are 1997 district champions in Part A football.
That's right, folks, and we're here to talk about it on Bobcat Blastoff. With me, your host, John Beltran. We'll also talk with another gentleman. That's the head coach that we speak to every week, Paul Trosclair, and his team, now 9-0 on the season. Welcome to Week 9 of Bobcat Blastoff, everyone. Let's talk about that big win last week over the Crowley Gents. 14-8 fireworks throughout this entire ballgame. Let's start with the very first possession. Crowley took the ball in pretty good field position at their own 35-yard line, and their running back, Murphy Reed, who had a big first half, started it off on the first play of the game.
Dugar goes off to running back on first play from scrimmage. He's at the 40, up to the 45-yard line.
2 plays later, it was 10 more yards this time for Walter Sampson.
Could be chucking the football on first down, but he's not. Goes right to his running back. He has a big gap down there. Here he comes. This Walter Sampson breaks through the 50, the 45, down to about the 30, making the 43-yard line.
With Crowley moving the ball into Eunice territory, 2 plays later, the Gents gave the football away.
Dugar keeps the football in the option play. Bottled up at the line of scrimmage, but gets through there. Fumbles the football. A catch, recover!
And the man recovering the fumble was Lee Miller, so the Bobcats took the ball over at their own 39-yard line, and their field general, Donnie Bollock, went to work on the ground.
Keeps the football up the middle. He's at the 40, 45, up to about the 48-yard line.
That was a gain of 9 yards. 2 plays later, Bollock would sneak it over the 50-yard line for a first down. However, 2 plays later, Bollock was nailed in the backfield for a 3-yard loss. He fumbled the ball, but he would recover it. Then the Bobcats could not move the ball. They had to punt it. 33-yard punt by Bollock put the ball in terrible field position for Crowley at their own 11. And that man, Murphy Reed, got the football again on the first play.
Dugar for Crowley at his own 11. Nothing fancy. Finds the running back, finds a gap in there at the 50 to 20. 25 up to the 25-yard line.
Crowley was able to gain 20 yards on the next 3 plays. However, a 17-yard penalty sandwiched in between plays 1 and 2 put the Gents still in bad field position, so they had to punt it back over to Eunice. A 27-yard punt by Nick Dugar put the ball at Eunice, his own 45-yard line. The Bobcats went to work immediately. Tim Freeman, the offensive player of the game, took the football.
Bollock goes off to Freeman on the right side. Has 10. Bind it close to a first down at about the 46-yard line on the Crowley side of the field.
First play of the second quarter. 6 plays later, Tim Freeman would go a much longer route.
Now Petty goes in motion. Ball's going off to no one. Oh, yes, someone has the football, that's for sure. I don't know. Freeman has the ball. The 30, 25, the 20, down to the 15. Pulled out the 10-yard line.
With the ball inside the red zone, the Bobcats then fumbled it away.
Gee, I think Reed had the football. He might have fumbled the football, and Crowley recovered the lost luggage.
So Crowley took over from their own 6-yard line after a penalty put the ball back at their own 4. Then it was Murphy Reed again with his longest run of the game.
On the counterplay, once again, he's loose at the 50, the 20, the 25, the 30. Pulled out from behind at the 35-yard line. He was off to the races.
After 2 incomplete passes by Nick Dugar, then a fumble.
Back to pass from the pocket. Pumps once, can't find a receiver. Runs to his left, looking downfield. They have to run the football, the 40-yard line. Fumble the football. Who has it down there at the 40-yard line?
The man having it was Tony Guillory, number 24, so the Bobcats were in business at the 39-yard line of Crowley, and 3 plays into this drive, a 3rd and 3, it was Tim Freeman again.
Left side, Freeman, 30, 25, 20, 15, he has 10, pulled out the 9-yard line by Jerome Bias.
This was an unusual drive for the Bobcats, who took over at the Crowley 39-yard line, as I mentioned just a few seconds ago. 7 plays and 72 yards. How can you go 72 yards when you have the ball at the opposition's 39-yard line? Well, when you have 2 penalties in 3 plays totaling 36 yards, that backs you up quite a bit. So the Bobcats found themselves at the 27-yard line, 4th and goal, and here's what happened.
Bollock back to throw the football. Whistles out, airs it out to the end zone. There's a man there. He catches the football at the 4-yard line. 3-on-1 coverage on the ball carrier downstairs, Kyra's Abear.
However, it was short of the touchdown and thus the first down, so Crowley took the ball over at their own 3-yard line and put together their most impressive drive, and here was play number 2.
Dugar keeps the football. The end around and quarterback keeper breaks at the 20-yard line, comes up to the 21, still digging up there. Good effort by him. Picks up the first down for Crowley.
That was a 12-yard gain, but Dugar would go much longer 5 plays later.
Dugar back to throw, going to keep the football, breaks to the 40, midfield, 45. at the 40-yard line. He's going to be pulled out the Eunice High School 30-yard line.
However, the Gents, who were hurt by penalties this entire game, committed 3 penalties for 30 yards in their next 5 plays, and that was it. Halftime, no score between Eunice and Crowley. Total yards in the first half, Crowley with 171, Eunice with 130. Penalty yardage, the Bobcats committed just 2 penalties for 36 yards, Crowley 6 for 53, and it would get a lot worse in the second half. In that second half, the Bobcats would receive the opening kickoff and place the ball on their own 47.5-yard line, and Tim Freeman then got the ball and the first score of the game.
Bollock trying to make it happen. Freeman goes to the left side, has a midfield stripe, has the 45, the 40, the 35, hit by Freeman, touchdown, Eunice High!
7-0 Eunice with Donnie Bollock's extra point. Crowley would then get the ensuing kickoff at their own 23-yard line, do nothing with it. 3 plays totaled 2 yards. They had to punt. Dugas with a 37-yarder. Eunice had the ball on their own 38-yard line, and Donnie Bollock immediately went to the air.
Takes a count, back to pass, pushes it right side, complete to Hebert at the 45, battling his way up to about the 40-yard line, 49-yard line, up to midfield for a camp first down.
Bollock on the next play got to the Crowley 37.
Hebert, then he goes up the middle. Bollock keeps the football, face mask, 45, 40, down to the 32-yard line, 37-yard line, first down for the Cats, plus it'll cost the Jets another 15 yards.
So that got the ball down to the 22-yard line. With the Bobcats driving, having to face a 4th down, Donnie Bollock was set to attempt a 30-yard field goal. He missed it wide left. However, Crowley was called for roughing the kicker, and then an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on top of that placed the ball at the Crowley 3-yard line, and from there, Casey Pettigo got his only carry of the ball game.
3-yard line. He goes off to number 22, dives into the end zone. Eunice High has scored again. Casey Pettigo! Holy mackerel!
And holy mahungus, the Bobcats led 14-0. Crowley then, on their own 27, started a new drive, and Nick Dugas threw 2 passes, did nothing with them. Sandwiched in between those passes was a 2-yard gain by the quarterback, so 3 plays, 2 yards. They punted it back over to the Bobcats, who took possession at their own 43-yard line. And then from there, Jeremy Reed took it 15 yards to the right side for a first down. However, 3 more plays netted 4 yards, and the Bobcats had to punt it back over to Crowley. Crowley then in bad field position, as they were for much of the entire game, took the ball at their own 15-yard line. After a 1-yard gain, the Bobcat defense took over.
Dugas make it 17. Opportunity to pitch the ball out. The ball is loose now. There, Eunice High should have that football.
And Eunice High did have that football, recovered by Brennan Bertrand. So with tremendous field position at the Crowley 15-yard line and a 14-point lead, the Bobcats had the opportunity to put this game away. Donnie Bollock scampered for 5 yards, placing the ball at the 10-yard line, and the quarter ran out. After a 2-yard run by Jeremy Reed, the Bobcats hurt themselves with 2 consecutive 5-yard penalties. After 2 incompletions, Donnie Bollock set up for a field goal.
Mars holding, fake field goal attempt. He's got Harry pass in the end zone. Harry Frank, incomplete, broken up by number 14 for Crowley.
So Crowley took over on downs on their own 19-yard line, and trailing by 2 touchdowns, the Gents had to throw the football, and that's what they did on the first play.
Back to pass the football, passes right side, wide open and complete at the 30-yard line.
And that was to Irvin George, a gain of 10 and a first down. On the very next play, Nick Dugas was in trouble in the backfield, but he somehow escaped.
Keeps football in the option play, gets across the 25, back up to the 30, 35, up to the 37. What a football player this guy is.
That was a gain of 12 and a first down, following 2 more passes, which got them another first down. Crowley was in trouble, 3rd down, but then Dugas with another big play.
Dugas pumps once, up the middle, he goes to the pass, wide open at the 15-yard line. As a receiver for Crowley, Quincy Morgan. Quincy down to the 15, down to the 10, down to about the 8-yard line. First down, goal to go. Actually,
the ball was placed at the 11-yard line of Eunice. After an 8-yard run by Murphy Reed, the Gents scored.
Dugas back to pass. Can't find a receiver. Got to run the football. Breaks to the 10, the 5. Goes into the end zone for a Crowley touchdown.
That cut the deficit to 8 points for Crowley. They set up for an extra point, I should say, but a little trickery.
Fake kick, pass to the end zone. 2 points for Crowley.
Avery Chester was the man in the end zone who caught that pass from Nick Dugas, so it was 14-8. Eunice then had their worst field position at their own 20-yard line. ran 3 plays. The first one was very successful.
Going out to Freeman. Turns the corner at the 20. Here's a 25. Here's a 30. The 35. The 40. The 45. He's out of bounds at midfield. Holy Magumba!
When you're a hot running back, you like the football in your hands, so Paul Trosclair called Tim Freeman's number again.
Back to pass, no one. Ball given out to Freeman again. He breaks it again at the 50, the 45, down to the 40. He is going bananas.
Gaining 39 yards in 2 plays, Tim Freeman took a break. So Jeremy Reed then got the football, but a tremendous defensive play by Crowley turned the ball over to the Gents.
There's Jeremy Reed trying to find room to run. He'll never make. He fumbled the football. It goes out of bounds. Who touched the ball last? The Crowley Gents come up with the lost luggage. Crowley recovers the fumble.
And took the ball over at their own 45-yard line with a golden opportunity to tie the game with a touchdown and win it with an extra point. Dugas was incomplete on his first pass, and then on the very next play, couldn't hold on to the football.
We have to intercept the next pass by Dugas. He's back to pass now. He's in trouble. He's going to be, no, he gets away from the tackler. Breaks to the 40, 45. Going to be pulled down finally at the 40-yard line. And there's a fumble, Carl, and that's recovered by Eunice. Joe Swallow picks it up.
So the Bobcats had the ball at the Crowley 37 with an opportunity to run out the clock, but they couldn't do it. 2 consecutive 5-yard penalties. Penalties really hurt the Bobcats in the second half as well, and they couldn't move the ball. Just 8 yards in 3 plays following those 2 penalties, so they punted it back over to the Gents. But a fair catch called at their own 4-yard line, a terrible decision, and they had to go 96 yards to try and at least tie this game, but they did pretty well on their first play.
Dugas back to pass in the end zone. Looking, passes downfield. Complete at the 20-yard line.
They got it all the way, actually, to the 25-yard line. Dugas would throw 2 consecutive incomplete passes, and on 3rd down and 10, the Bobcat defense forced the final turnover of the game.
Back to pass, Dugas again. Passes upfield. Intercepted by Harry Frank. Jimmy Edwards on the Jimmy Edwards intercepted the 35, the 30, the 25, the 20. Jimmy Edwards picks it up. Jimmy Edwards hauls it in. Jimmy Edwards on the interception. The Cats have nailed in a district title with that K right there, John.
That's right, folks, because they ran out the clock from there, winning the game 14-8, increasing their record to a perfect 9-0. Meanwhile, Crowley dropped to 4-5. And we'll be back to talk to head coach Paul Trosclair about that big Crowley win, as well as tonight's upcoming game with the Wampus Cats of Leesville. That's following these messages on your home of Eunice Bobcat football. You are listening to KEUN Supersports.
St. Landry Homestead Federal Savings Bank has 3 locations to better serve you: Eunice, Opelousas, and Fort Barry. They specialize in residential loans with the lowest interest rates in many years. St. Landry Homestead Federal Savings Bank also has consumer loans of all types. At St. Landry Homestead, all loans stay local since it's run by local people. St. Landry Homestead Federal Savings Bank, Eunice, Fort Barry, and Opelousas, member FDIC.
Do you know the most efficient and least expensive way to heat your home? If you said natural gas, you're absolutely right. Natural gas gives you more for your money, more heat for your dollar, more efficiency, therefore costing you less. For the natural gas story, call your favorite heating and cooling contractor. He'll give you full details. Heating your home or cooking your meals, natural gas costs less. Natural gas in Eunice, it's the natural thing to do.
Coach, it's finally over, the game everybody was waiting for. Big victory over Crowley. Probably the best 4-5 team you've ever seen.
Yeah, Crowley played well, and on reviewing our film, I found that we played really poorly on offense in certain spots, and it really hurt us, and it almost cost us, but our kids were tough enough to pull it out, and it was a very exciting win, and we're excited about it. We want to get past it now and move on.
Much sloppier game than you anticipated?
Yeah, we made a lot of mental mistakes, and I think a lot of it had to do with being really tight and just playing Crowley and the build up to the game made us forget about our purpose, and we missed some blocking assignments.
Now, that is a good point you're making there, because your team is rarely thrown for losses, especially on running plays. Were there just adjustments made, or were the assignments just fulfilled in the second half?
We made a few adjustments, and we ran some plays that we had a better chance of having success with, and we still missed some assignments, but we did better in the second half. And Tim Freeman had a great game. He made some super runs, big runs for us when we needed them.
Now, besides members of the offensive line, I know one guy who threw 2 very key blocks on the touchdown by Casey Pettigo and on the 28-yard run by Freeman near the end of the game was Joe Swallow. Yet it doesn't seem he plays too much. Does he get more action as the playoffs approach, or how do you use him basically?
Well, Joe's a two-way player for us. He plays offense and defense, and we use him in spots on offense. And he's a fine offensive player, but right now we're a little thin on the defensive line, so he gets more reps there.
What about the passing game, Coach? You didn't have to throw a lot of passes. Why was that? You just wanted to establish it on the ground?
Well, we called about 4 passes that were not thrown because Donnie scrambled and kept the football for some yardage. And, you know, Crowley did a good job in his secondary, manning up and sometimes doubling Kyrus Aber, and he took that away from us. And we dropped a pass in the end zone, which could have been a touchdown. So, I mean, they took some away, and we elected to keep the ball on a couple of occasions.
Coach, talk about the roles of Donnie Bollock and Jeremy Reed on that wraparound handoff to Tim Freeman, which has worked so well this season. People don't realize how these guys, Bollock and Reed, get pounded on those plays because they execute the fake so well.
Donnie got hit by 3 or 4 people on that play, and they never let him go until they found out the ball was 20 yards down the field, and one of them had his face mask, another one had his neck. So he got beat up pretty good, but they did a great job of faking, and Jeremy is the lead faker on that, and he did a super job.
Speaking of doing a great job, can't commend the secondary enough. Went against Dugard, who's 5 out of 17 passing. Seems that Roy Freeman was on top of the intended receiver just about every time they threw his way. And Derek Myers played very well, especially when Dugard tried to escape, and he made several tackles in the backfield.
Derek had a great game. He did exactly what we asked him to do. He waited for him to break, and he was there and made open field tackles, which is hard to do against that kid. And Roy Freeman's been real consistent all year long, and he never gives up the big play, and he was there for us, and I mean, he came through big time.
Now, we talked about adjustments with the offense. The linebackers, it seemed, on those running plays in the first half were getting taken out, as well as the Crowley offensive linemen maintaining their block. Were you shifting around the linebackers at all in the second half, or were they just able to avoid Crowley offensive lineman blocks?
Well, the big play in the first half was a counter, which they had not shown in the previous films that we saw, and they were able to trap our linemen. But we had our linebackers sit and wait, and we played it much better the second half. They had 4 first downs in the second half, so they didn't really do a whole lot of damage.
Some people talked about what the biggest play of the game was. I felt, at least in the first half, Kyrus Aber stopping Murphy Reed, which was a sizable game, was probably the biggest play of the game in the first half, simply because if he doesn't get him, he's gone for a 96-yard run. It could have changed the complexion of the entire game.
Yeah, that's a touchdown saving tackle, and Kyrus is a big-time player. I mean, he came through again for us, and, you know, when your big-time players in big-time games have to come through, and he made a great play right there.
One thing that was overshadowed in this game, Coach, was field position. Crowley had drives starting at the 3-yard line, the 6-yard line, their final drive at the 4-yard line, and other than one possession your team had at the 20, your worst starting field position was at the 38-yard line, so at least your team was able to move the ball even if they couldn't score in the red zone in the first half a couple of times.
Yeah, we were able to keep the football. Like I said, we're disappointed because we got down there. We were down inside the 10 3 times, and we came away with nothing. And you have to do better than that in the playoffs. But our special teams, I felt like, won the game for us.
Now, I mentioned earlier how Bollock and Reed get pounded on those wraparound handoff plays. There were several guys in this game, unfortunately, who went down, got back up. How's the health of this team going into the final game of the year?
It's probably the worst it's been right now. Jason Anderson's got a hurt neck. He's questionable. He'll see a doctor tomorrow. Harry Frank has not practiced all week long. His back's still very tight. Jeremy Reed was sick yesterday. The only positive is that Bobby Hamus is probably close to 100% right now. But we're not at full strength going into this game. I'm not sure if those kids can play or not.
Let's talk about Bobby's condition quickly, Coach. First half, on that snap exchange between Bollock and Reed, where there was a fumble at the 5-yard line, it looked like Hamus got beat on the inside. Is he still as quick as he usually is?
Bobby took the wrong step on that, and he had a big 280-pound kid over him. And like I said, Crowley's big kids inside really played well. And he took a step left foot, and he should have gone right foot, and he missed that block, but he doesn't do that very often.
Now, I know by beating Leesville you accomplish a perfect season, 10-0, which obviously eclipses last season's record. But is this a game you really don't want to play?
I wish it was over, and I wish we had it done with, and we're getting ready to play our playoff game. But, you know, you have to play it, and our kids are focusing on 10-0. I mean, that's something they want to be the second team in school history to accomplish that. So they've had a great week of practice.
But this is a game you'd like to get out to a big lead because you need to rest your starters, and hopefully some of your bench players can see some action here.
It would be nice if that would happen, but Leesville's got a very good defensive football team and a good quarterback. In our district, you know, you don't have any patsies. You have to go play every week. So I anticipate a battle. I really do.
Coach, let's hope everybody gets healthy for the playoffs. Good luck.
Thanks.
We'll let you know who else is playing tonight throughout the state of Louisiana following these messages on your home of Eunice Bobcat football. This is KEUN Supersports. DC Sports Bar and Steakhouse has a great atmosphere for the entire family. Open 7 days a week, the steakhouse provides lunch and dinner with a full menu specializing in steak and seafood. The banquet room is available for private parties and special occasions. Ladies, while you're dining for lunch, you can even enjoy your favorite soaps with a private TV tables. The sports bar has big screen TVs for viewing all your favorite sporting events. There's also leather pocket pool tables, electronic darts, and championship shuffleboard games. DC Sports Bar and Steakhouse, West Laurel and Eunice. Visit them soon. Every parent wants their child to have a beautiful smile, and every child should have a healthy one. Unfortunately, dental and jaw abnormalities do occur. Jaws that are too wide, too narrow, or even crooked could hinder a young person's permanent teeth. Early interceptive treatment at Smiles Ahead can help to prevent these problems. At Smiles Ahead Family Orthodontics, they want to help. Contact Dr. Ian Harkins or Dr. Kirby Guidry and ask about our no-money down payment plan. Smiles Ahead Family Orthodontics. Call 457-8596 or 1-800-896-5313. Tonight in Louisiana, Baker will take on Bishop Sullivan. It'll be Denham Springs hosting Catholic. East Ascension's at Zachary. Glen Oaks travels to Central. Lee is at Walker. St. Amant is home to McKinley. Woodlawn will play Terra. Brewley at Point Coupee Central. West Feliciana at home to Port Allen. St. James travels to Donaldsonville. Plaquemine hosts Lutcher. Amite is at Live Oak. Christian Life home to Jackson. Northeast is at Clinton University at Episcopal. St. Helena Central home to Southern Lab. Kentwood travels to Catholic at Point Coupee. Falls River versus Dunham. That'll be played at Memorial Stadium. Vermilion Catholic hosts Ascension Catholic. North Iberville is at East Iberville. Avoyelles will travel to Bunkie. Como is home to Barr. Bazille will take on North Central, looking to improve there to 8-2 for the Bearcats. North Central looking for their first win of the year. Bolton is at Breaux Bridge. Breaux Bridge trying to have a perfect season. They are 9-0 going into this game. New Iberia home to Carencro. Cecilia's at Church Point. Gaydon home to Central Catholic. Iowa's at Westlake. Jennings travels to Washington Marion. Iota home to Kinder. LaGrange is at Acadiana. Lake Arthur at Oakdale. Delcombe home to Laurelville. Mamou is at Elton. Ville Platte hosts Marksville. Maryville is at Oakland. Northside travels to Franklin. DeQuincy home to Northwest. Opelousas looking for their first win of the year, and they'll have to do it against St. Thomas More. It doesn't look like it'll happen there. Patterson's at Opelousas Catholic. Notre Dame hosts Rain. Sam Houston in a District 4 Quad A clash will take on DeRidder on the road. South Cameron at Welsh. Lake Charles of Boston home to St. Louis. St. Martinville travels to Beauchene. Lafayette home to Sulphur. Turling's Catholic against Port Barry, a huge game in District 6-2A tonight. Westminster is at Hanson Memorial. Vanderbilt Catholic hosts Assumption. Booker T. Washington is at E.D. White. Covington at Mandeville. H.L. Bourgeois will host Destrehan. East St. John at Thibodaux. Hanville is at Terrebonne. Bogalusa hosts Hannon. Loranger travels to Jules Sumner. North Shore at Slidell. Springfield hosts Pine. Ponchatoula at Fontainebleau. Riverside is at St. Martin. Central Lafourche hosts South Lafourche. South Terrebonne travels to Morgan City. St. Paul at Hammond. St. Thomas Aquinas is at Newman. Pope John Paul home to Varnado. West St. John at Ellender. Block will be at Vidalia. Buckeye hosts Jonesboro Hodge. Peabody at Pineville. And finally, Tioga will take on Alexandria. Of course, that Alexandria team is in the top 10 in Class 4A. Last night in high school football was Abramson 14, Kennedy 6. Broadmoor, Baton Rouge, all over Capital 42-14. Carver shuts out Carr 8-0. Salmon falls to Independence 15-8. Estroma 28, Bel Air 20. It was Newellton over Wisner 25-6. Parkview Baptist by 2 touchdowns over Redemptorist 21-7. Rummel bombs Brother Martin 57-13. Southwood by a touchdown over Woodlawn Shreveport 21-14. St. Charles 14, Ridgewood 10. St. Frederick bombs Lake Providence 42-7. Waterproof is ousted by Tallulah 42-12. West Monroe shuts out West Ouachita 54-0. And White Castle over St. John Plaquemine 34-15. Let's recap the Eunice Bobcat season for you. They are 9-0 going into this game. Of course, Leesville is the worst team in District 4 Quad A. It started out on the road when the Bobcats had a 14-0 halftime lead and went on to win over Opelousas 16-6. Week 2 was here, their opener at Bobcat Stadium, and they beat Jennings in a tight one 21-7. Then one of their bigger wins of the year at Beauchene easily 48-0. And then against a top 10 team that we talked about just a couple of seconds ago, Alexandria, they beat them here at home 24-7. That would be the first of 3 consecutive home games. Then they looked very sharp in the first half against Tioga, leading 29-7 at halftime and rout to a 29-13 victory. And then that homecoming game everybody was talking about, O.P. Walker, ranked 6th in the state. At that time, the Bobcats were ranked 4th. How would this game turn out? All Bobcats winning 45-12. And then a big district game on the road against DeRidder. Their most impressive performance of the year coming away is basically a nice, easy victory, 67-12. And then Sam Houston back home, a tough test, but they were able to beat them 43-20. And last week, the game of the season so far, the Bobcats over Crowley, 14-8, claiming the District 4 Quad A championship. And as we mentioned a couple of times in this broadcast, as head coach Paul Trosclair also talked about, looking to become the second team in history, and high school history at least for the Bobcats, to win 10 games in a season, in the regular season that is, and have a perfect season. So with all that rambling going on, the Bobcats need to play just 48 minutes of sharp football tonight, and they will become 10-0. We'll have the start of tonight's game for you following these messages on your home of Eunice Bobcat football. We'll have all the playoffs for you, by the way. This is KEUN Supersports.
Larry's Tire Service, Highway 190 West in Eunice, sells Bridgestone and Firestone tires. Quality tires by manufacturers you know. When you travel on Bridgestone and Firestone tires, you travel with comfort. Larry's Tire Service also does muffler and exhaust work, alignments, and has 24-hour road service available anytime, anywhere. All good reasons to put your automobile in the hands of the professionals at Larry's Tire Service. Highway 190 West in Eunice, where quality and service come first.
At First Bank of Eunice, we're more than a place to make a deposit or get a loan. At First Bank, we're your friends and neighbors. Ask any of our customers why they do business with us, and the usual reply will be, it's like doing business with a member of the family. First Bank of Eunice. We're here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to serve our community. First Bank of Eunice, member FDIC.
Pure gold means good old rock and roll. KJJB FM Eunice, Louisiana's Prairie Cajun capital.
The home of real country music.
We're country and Cajun. Proud of it, too. We're KEUN Eunice.